Next session will be handled by Dr. Wumi Hassan, and we'll be focusing on digital skills and bridging the digital divide. Please stay tuned in the next 2 minutes. Thank you.
Specifically to address these challenges and make it so that any organization of any size with any connection to the domain name system can sign up and start taking action in as little as 24 hours. With standardized abuse reporting, built-in case management, the ability to directly integrate with your backend, and a dedicated staff working on your behalf, CleanDNS saves your organization time and money addressing abuse concerns while lowering your risk and improving your reputation. We work with GTLDs, CCTLDs, registrars, and hosting and infrastructure providers to streamline abuse management, as well as trusted reporters, cybersecurity companies, nonprofits, governments, and individuals as part of our completely free reporter program. Cleaning up the internet shouldn't clean out your budget. For as little as $500 a year, CleanDNS can fully manage your abuse program on behalf of your organization. Start a free 7-day trial of CleanDNS today, giving you a preview of the reports you would receive in our system and a consultation with our analysts. Don't wait for abuse to become a problem. Take action now. Visit cleandns.com today or contact us at hello@cleandns.email and join us in cleaning up the internet for good.
Ever pondered how technology can seamlessly blend with humans and processes? Well, the answer is not far-fetched. It's right here at Contemporary Consulting Limited. This is not just a company. It's a vibrant digital universe where innovation meets expertise, and where we have been lighting up the ICT sector for 3 fruitful decades. Located in the heart of Abuja, Nigeria, Contemporary Consulting Limited stands as a beacon of creativity. Our collaborations are as diverse as our expertise, spanning across the federal government of Nigeria, World Bank, and the European Union. Our mission is simple: to offer cutting-edge ICT consultancy services that are tailor-made to your needs. Are you seeking to enrich your IT knowledge and skills? We've got you covered. Do you need to integrate systems for seamless data and voice exchanges? We are there for you. Or perhaps you're looking to design online applications or fortify your cybersecurity? Look no further. At Contemporary Consulting Limited, we have a knack for turning complex situations into straightforward economical strategies. We believe in the power of technology to unlock access to critical information, wealth, and prosperity. And our goal is to use this power to create innovative technology and creative solutions that benefit our clients and stakeholders. But don't just take our word for it. Discover it for yourself. For further details or queries, navigate your way to our website at www.contemporary.net.ng or dial +234 909 9999 132. Contemporary Consulting Limited, focused on performance.
Welcome back as we step into the final session, which is the 6th session. The 6th session for the day 2 of the AfICTA Summit, the 11th of its kind. The subject of focus for this particular session is digital skills and bridging the digital divide. Well, before we go into that, for all of us who are presently here, please look at the polls. Look at the polls, the AfICTA 11 Summit Day 2 poll.
Hello, am I in the right meeting? This is Dr. Wumi Azan connected.
Welcome, Madam
Good
Dr.
afternoon. Am I in the right meeting?
Dr. Wumi Azan, can you hear me? You are in the right meeting. I was just about to step into your big shoes, and thank God for coming on time.
We're trying to connect. And here in Nigeria, live with us in the hall are women from all over Nigeria, as this day coincides with our National Women's Tech Week. And I want to excitedly say all the women are live here. I'm sure we are trying to connect our faces.
Of course, we have women in the hall, the likes of Rachel Shitanda, who is also, of course, smiling like this to celebrate women. And you know, at AfICTA, we celebrate.
Can you moderate that volume for us? You have to unmute that one, please, since I'm connecting. So we have Nigerian women in technology live with us. Are you mute there? Are you mute? So thank you so much. We are here this afternoon to talk about digital skills. 1 second. We just want to make sure that the audience here can connect to what is going on. Why is the screen off?
Dr. Mrs. Wumi Azan, my name is Adebumi Adeola Akimbo, and I am the one in charge within the next 5 minutes before I can hand over to you.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so fortunately, the moderator for the 6th and final session of the 11th AfICTA Summit is here with us live and direct, and she's not here alone, as she has announced. She's here with more than just one voice to be part of this program. Of course, they are getting themselves ready by looking at difficulties and making sure that the technical issues are solved. She will be addressing with our panelists digital skills and bridging the digital divide. They will have 60 minutes to divulge, divide, digest, and in a good manner, give us back this whole house. On that note, I call on the President, Chief Executive Officer, Nigeria, women, and no other person, but a woman of dignity and much impact that I have been able to work closely with, Dr. Mrs. Wumi Azan. You have to go ahead.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. From Nigeria, it's an afternoon time. For you, wherever you are connected, good morning, good evening, good night. So for us in Nigeria, it's an afternoon. And then I don't know how many of my panelists are around. We are going to be talking on digital skills and bridging the digital divide. So ladies, can you please take your notes and write that topic down? Digital skills and bridging the digital divide. I'm going to be having, of course, like you can see, quite a lot of panelists that are connected already. I have speakers. Poroni, if you're in the house, can you give us a wave if you are there? Great. Paul, nice having you around.
Everybody, except if.
And of course, my own Melissa. Melissa Sassi, is Melissa here? Melissa, can we see you?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great, Melissa. Shout out to all of you. Ladies, can you wave to Melissa? Melissa, we are waving to you from the hall in Nigeria.
I'm waving at you too.
They are seeing my own face. This camera should be pointing to the hall so that they can see the ladies. Where is she? Can somebody help me with that? Can you please turn the screen to the hall so that they see the Nigerian ladies? And of course, Mr. Bimbo Abioye. Is Mr. Bimbo with us? Is
Yes,
Mr. Bimbo connected?
Nice meeting
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you
Nice
so
meeting
much. He's saying nice meeting you all. I don't know if it's my own voice alone that is hearing. Nice meeting you all. Sorry, all of us will hear you shortly. We are working on that. And then Rachel Chitanda. Rachel, are you there? Is Rachel with us?
Hello. Hello, how are
Hi,
you?
Rachel. Please just give a
Hi,
wave. We are
everyone.
seeing you
This woman is distracted.
as you wave. Thank you. Beautiful. And then the next panelist, Ben Ewa, is Mr. Ben Ewa with us from Nigeria, NITSDA, Deputy Director, National Information Technology. Is not connected yet. And I'm sure the last but not the least is Mr. Admar Guanzura. Are you there with us, sir? God bless you. You're welcome. That's the non-executive director of the immediate past president of the Institute of IT Professionals South Africa. Rachel is council member of Computer Society of Kenya and chair policy formulation. Great to Melissa. And of course, we have Paul Ronin, AfICTA Deputy Chair. So I'm going to that. Represent. Let me start with you, Melissa. Please permit me to start with Melissa being a female. Speak to it, Melissa. How is it about this? What do you want to say about how we can bridge the gender digital skills across the divide? Please, can you, Melissa, you are on.
I guess it would help if I took myself off of mute. Speaking of digital skills, I think no matter where we are in our lives, we all need them. And one big important thing is taking yourself off of mute. Okay, so I'm going to just share my screen and I'm going to give you a sneak preview into something that you are actually the first to see this presentation, and you're actually the first to hear this name. So let me pull it up. There we go.
So she's sharing a slide. Please, can we see the slide? Can we see the slide in the hall? Yeah.
All right, let me know if you can see my slide. It should say Digital Culture Collective.
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah? Okay. All right, good. I'd love to hear what our friends in Nigeria think about the creative, because we're trying to be very creative. All right, super. So let's jump in. Digital Culture Collective. I'm going to probably walk you through a journey first. And first off, I think one of the things that digital skills have given to me is, and I take this quote from Picasso: "Everything you can imagine is real." Now, we said a few things, and I think these are all true. Digital tools, and I'm not talking about digital skills now, I'm talking about tools, which I think they're very similar. They fuel youth with the power to become creators, makers, and doers. Young and passionate change makers with an insatiable desire to innovate, they share a common trait, and that's a growth mindset. I don't know how all of you feel, but we need a new social contract. We need a new one that is purpose-built for youth and transforms the way they build tech skills. We know we have a gender gap in tech, and we know we have a lot of gaps in tech. And I'm going to show you what Digital Culture Collective plans to do about that. And by the way, we're looking for partners. So I'm going to give you a couple quotes. Doreen Bogdan, head of the ITU: "We're in a race against time, especially for those in the global South." And this is our friend from South Africa, a young change maker. The potential for global progress is unlimited. Through purposeful engagement and collaboration, nothing can stand in our way. Lella is from the UK. I brought her into IBM when she was 15 years old. We broke some glass ceilings. She was the youngest, and she was a minor at the time, as you may know, 15. The youngest IBMer in the history of IBM across the Middle East and Africa, as well as the UK. And what she says is, digital creativity is my outlet for rebel ideas. Youth and tech are our tomorrow. And then head of UNESCO, education is not fulfilling its promise of shaping a peaceful, just, and sustainable future. Education itself must be transformed. So some of that inspiring, some of that a little bit scary, right? Oh, let me go back. There we go. Okay. 1 second. All right. So we created the internet, and we said that it would impact the lives of billions and billions of people for the better. And we did that. We said it would bring opportunity, and yeah, it has. But we haven't yet achieved digital equity. For those of you in the room, or those of you, attending from wherever you are, in your living rooms, in your offices, in your cars, wherever you may be, it's time now to democratize access to opportunity for all. Digital Culture Collective is a suite of free tools. Yes, I said that right, free tools. And it's all about a growth mindset powered by our partners, and together impact 100 million youth around the world. What's our mission? Our mission is to grow next-gen talent by introducing digital tools, skills, and culture. And you notice that I use digital tools first. I believe there's a fundamental disconnect around why we have a digital skills gap and why we have a gender gap. There are a number of different reasons, and I think one of those is we start teaching digital skills upside down. We start with this theoretical definition of what digital skills are, and we don't necessarily start from output, meaning from tools, from the very things that people need to know. And how do we put people into jobs? How do we enable them to be economically empowered? Through this collective, we will be looking at phase 1 markets where ministries of education are on a single domain and have at least 500,000 students on that domain, meaning they've got the same email address, they've got a single sign-on situation. And I'm going to tell you where we started, because this initiative was born out of the continent, and I'll tell you a little bit about what that means. All right, so I don't know if we have anyone from Cabo Verde who's joined us, but I was the first entrepreneur in residence in Cape Verde, a country that's very near and dear to my heart, and feels like home if they will accept me. We launched a number of different initiatives in Cabo Verde, between my company, which is Machine Lab Ventures. By the way, I'm not at P3 anymore. I'm at Machine Lab Ventures, by the way. IBM, Canva, and Code.org, some companies that you may be familiar with. And we worked from the ground up while also working with the national government. We worked together with Cabo Verde Digital, which is the innovation and kind of digital skilling arm of the government, headed up by Milton Cabral, an amazing leader. I love him immensely. Must be my brother, or I hope he accepts me as his brother or as his sister. The Ministry of Digital Economy, Secretary of State, Ministry of Education, and the Office of the Prime Minister. And we created 2 days. We created a National Day of Digital Creativity, and we created a National Day of Code. We got celebrities coding. We impacted 100,000 students and 6,000 teachers, and it's still going. And we'd like to bring it to you. So Jimson, this is what I was talking about when we spoke the other day. All right, let's talk about where this came from. Start from nowhere. But before that, We're starting off with Canva, and these are some of the tech platforms that we plan to incorporate as part of this program. So again, not starting off theoretically, but starting out upside down, which we don't think is actually upside down, starting from the actual tools instead of theory. We have enough theory in our lives. All right, I'm not going to read all this to you, but there's been a lot of work that's went into, kind of understanding why is there a gender divide? Naturally, we need to have a lot of effort that keeps more women and girls into tech. This is kind of focused more on the long tail. How do we bring more women and girls into tech? A lot of stuff, a lot of internet governance forums, forum presentations, a lot of presentations with AfICTA. And I'll call out a few things. Our team was part of creating the first worldwide standard for what it means to be digitally skilled and ready. That was endorsed by the IEEE in 2020. We've been engaged in teaching tens of thousands of young people to code in 12 countries. And underneath the IBM umbrella, 25,000 plus students in 150 countries. You can see the National Day of Code in Cape Verde, the largest youth startup delegation from Africa at Web Summit last year. Today is the last day of Web Summit, and an additional delegation is there today. A National Day of Digital Creativity that landed today. And you'll see where it says formation of the Digital Culture Collective. All of this was done to lead up to today on our mission to enable 100 million young change makers with digital skills. All right, this is more of a global view, but obviously this has to happen based on local needs and local collaboration, as well as some of the big names that help as a convening force. And what can you do? So we don't need to talk about me. I'm going to skip this, but let me get here. And what can you do? As long as my slide moves. Okay. Oh, let me get back. Anyone's interested in being a founding member, let me know. You can encourage others to join. You will not find this online yet, so there's still time to be a founding member. And we think there's a lot of opportunity to, integrate this with ministries of education. So Jimson, give me a call. The rest of you who would like to bring this to your respective markets, let me know. We have a list of prioritized countries, and based on how we do this is really having the right local collaborations. So thank you for taking the time, and I hope you found this interesting and exciting. Usually I talk about, kind of projects and different activities when I speak here at AfICTA. And today I thought, let me have a call to action, because things are broken. And that call to action is today. So let me give you my details for anyone who does not know me. So I'm Dr. Melissa Sassy. I'm a venture partner at Machine Lab Ventures and part of the creators of Digital Culture Collective. Hopefully you can see my email. I'll put my socials in the chat. So thank you very much. Dr. Winme, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you, Melissa, for this insightful talk. Such a great opportunity to listen to you. I was actually communicating back what you were saying to the women in the house, and they are already writing for you questions. I hope I'll be able to channel one or two of those questions to you in a short while. I want to have Paul Rollins. Can we have you speak to us now?
It's a little bit hard for me to hear. Did anyone catch what Dr. Winme was saying?
Yeah, it's my turn, basically.
Okay, I was like, I don't know, was she asking me a question? All right, over to you. I'll go back to the audience. Thanks, Paul. Sorry about that.
I want to take the questions together. So let us have the questions together. Let's have Paul now, and then we can take all the questions together.
Okay, host, can you let me share my screen quickly, please? I'm disabled for sharing my screen.
Apologies for that. Please, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'm just sharing one slide. I don't know if you can see it. But anyway.
Yeah, it's very clear. You can see the slide here.
Okay, there's many slides like this, and you know, this is the only one I'm going to put up. It's from Tweedly Teaching, but it really is just to highlight, you know, the depth of complexity around bridging the digital divide. It's not a simple thing. There's not a one fit all. You know, it's got to be approached differently. We need to understand, you know, why it's not happening. If we look at technology, you know, it's not really a technical challenge. You know, we've got a host of technologies. We've got Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7 coming out. We've got fiber. There's a lot of fiber being laid. The cost of fiber has dropped dramatically. We've got these low orbit satellites that are becoming a bit of a flavor right now on the continent. We have emerging technologies. There's some emerging technologies like TV white space that have seemingly come and gone, and you know, we can talk about that maybe a bit later as to why some of these technologies are not really managing to solve some of the problems. But it's one thing I can say is, it's, you know, from my perspective, it's not really a technical problem as to why we're not bridging the digital divide. If anything, with the advent of the fourth industrial revolution, and you know, now with the public prevalence of AI, you know, coming to our desktops, in many ways the gap is widening. It's not really, when you talk about the digital divide, it's not enough just to say, you know, having access or having the ability to access internet means you're connected, i.e., you know, being able to pick up a phone that's central to connect. You know, that's not really a good measure of being connected. There's things like, you know, can I afford the data? Is my signal good enough? Can I get a quality of service? You know, can I video stream, etc. So, you know, I'm from Namibia. And as I mentioned, I'm the deputy chairperson for AfICTA. And in Namibia, we have good infrastructure. So, you know, we've got fiber running around the country. We're connected to multiple fiber, sea fiber connection points. We've got a lot of land connections connecting us to our neighbors. So we have an abundance of connectivity coming into the country. You know, from all, and it's redundant. You know, if one link breaks, you know, we got other links, and it is massively underutilized, the amount of data that we have access to. We've got a good electrification or electricity running backbone running around the country. We don't have power outages, so we have pretty stable power. You know, we've got a pretty strong but at the same time, most of our schools are either not connected or underconnected to internet. So, you know, why is this the case? You know, why do we have plenty of internet? We have the technology, we have the skills, but our schools and our clinics remain disconnected. And you know, it's not a demand problem. When you know, I've rolled out ICTs, and I've rolled out connectivity to schools in Namibia and many other countries. And if you take internet to a school and a computer to the school, you know, that equipment is used, and it's innovatively used. You know, so sometimes you might have a curriculum around it, but you don't even need a curriculum around ICT. You know, just bring connectivity, just bring some ICT tools, and the school will find its own way. The children will find their own way. You know, they'll find plenty of ways to do creative things with the tools that they're given, with or without the teachers. You know, sometimes the teachers can be the inhibitors because they're trying to take a structured approach to access to ICTs. So, you know, it's not a demand issue that is causing this. There is a challenge around computer literacy, particularly once you move out of the urban centers into the more rural areas. Language, or the languages that are used on the internet, are often not friendly. So, the internet also needs to be relevant to the consumer, the person using it. And in Africa, we still tend to be a consumer of content. So, we tend to consume a lot of foreign content. It is changing. There's a lot more content being produced on the continent, not enough. And there's a few more languages being introduced, but again, not enough. So, is funding the reason why it's not happening? I'm not convinced it's really a funding issue. We manage to fund different things. There's always money around. So, what is the problem? I don't have the answers to this, but we need to start trying to understand why we're not currently able to bridge that digital divide, and why in many cases that digital divide is growing. And when we look at the fourth industrial revolution, digital skills are key. And, the fourth industrial revolution and AI, is going to threaten a lot of traditional jobs. So if we're not training our youth with relevant digital skills, then they're not going to access those jobs in the future. And many of these future jobs, they're not going to be dependent on where you are. If you've got connectivity and you've got a digital skill, you can earn an income anywhere else, anywhere in the world. You can sit anywhere, really. So, from my experience, a lot of the challenges that we have is regulatory. It's the approach we take to regulating or not unregulating spectrum. We tend to see spectrum as a scarce resource, which it is, but it's an underutilized scarce resource, particularly once you get out of the urban areas into the rural areas. So we have these countrywide or regional-wide approaches to licensing spectrum. So in congested urban areas, it makes sense to restrict the amount of 5G or low band spectrum that's available for connecting people. But once you get into the rural areas, 80% of that spectrum is sitting idle. But our regulators still see that as a licensing opportunity, and that there's complex licensing requirements, which makes it difficult for community-based network operators to actually access that usable spectrum. There's some ISM bands that are available, but when you're talking about trying to connect a rural community, some of it is also backhaul. How do you connect into the closest internet spot? You can go internet, but so you can go satellite, but that can prove expensive. Or you can run unlicensed spectrum and try and connect to internet pop somewhere. But then, we've got the complexities and the additional costs of right of way, which can be punitive and expensive. So, there's many challenges and there's many reasons why we're not achieving bridging that digital divide. I'm not going to go much deeper than that, but, we need to start solving these problems. We need new ways of thinking about how we make spectrum available, how we enable new players to solve some of these digital challenges that we have today. And this has been mentioned in other forums about copy and paste. We do have a tendency to copy and paste a lot of our legislation and policies around ICTs and connectivity that are not conducive for the problems that we're trying to solve. So I'm going to close off here now to let other speakers speak. Thank you. Okay, I've finished.
Very insightful one. Thank you so much, Paul. You quite mentioned the issue of infrastructure, and it's so inspiring because one of the things that has been a challenge locally is how we see challenges of connectivity in terms of, and this is very important because we need to discuss it across Africa. Even in cities like Abuja, for instance, sometimes you see call drops, you see quite a lot of challenges, and you are wondering what is going to happen in the rural areas. So when I listen to you and you mentioned this connectivity issue, I think we still need to look at it in a very critical way across the country. I know the fiber optics have done quite a lot. At least for me personally, I'm enjoying that. But how much of that can we still lay across the continent? Thank you. I'm sure questions will come to you later on.
Just a quick response to that as well.
Yeah, sure.
I've been to Abuja and to Lagos, looking at connectivity and stuff, particularly in the peripherals and stuff. And once you get to rural Nigeria, a lot of it is the middle mile that is the problem. And that's the problem that is starting to be solved, but it's not solved.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we really have a very big issue to look into across the issues of infrastructure. And then many times what we see, anyway, let me not talk too much. Let's allow other panelists to speak more, and then we can take our questions together. Please forgive me while I was doing the introduction. We have also in the house Mr. Achanase Baiza. I hope I pronounced that well. He's an IT expert and co-founder, Youth IGF DR Congo. Please, you are welcome with us also. Thank you. So sorry for missing you out in the first introductory section. Right now, we want to mix it again and have Rachel. Can I have Rachel to speak to us? I'm actually gender biased now because I thought we should hear the female voices much more this afternoon. Men, thank you for watching out for us. But can I have Rachel speak to us now? Thank you. Rachel, you have the floor. I'm not hearing you here. I don't know if you are speaking to us. Rachel Chitanda. Hello, Rachel, can you hear me? Hello, I'm not hearing you. I don't know if any other person is.
I can't hear Rachel either.
Okay, so Rachel, we can't hear you. Please, are you hearing us? Can you do your hand to show that you are hearing us? But we are not hearing you. Okay, maybe there's a challenge with Rachel's end. Can I have one of us from here, Mr. Bimbo Abioye, while we wait for Rachel to sort out the audio? Mr. Bimbo Abioye, sir, can you please take the floor? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wumi, and other panelists that have contributed. Paul was talking about the issue in Namibia, that it's not then the problem must be the supply. Yeah, which is a problem everywhere. My name is Bimbo Abioye, and I'm Group MD, Fintrack Software. Fintrack Software is an organization that have, right from its existence, gone into development of solutions, which is being leveraged in the banking industry, private sector, public sector, across Africa. And we're looking to expand to other continents. I'm also president, Institute of Software Practitioners of Nigeria. So the topic before me this afternoon is about digital skills and bridging the digital divide. I will very rapidly just race through a few slides and pause at some point, as there are more than can be taken during this session. Who is a digitally literate person? You know, we're talking about digital skills. And then before we even look at the issue of digital divide, a digitally literate person possesses variety of skills. Oftentimes we mistake digital skills to ability to write codes or create software or do some highly technical things. It's part of it, but it's not all of it. And you can be digitally literate without really even taking it further to being able to write codes. A whole lot is involved, and you can pick your own side and pick where you are, what you are good at, and leverage it and try to balance it up with other, you know, a fair understanding of what happens in other climes. So it possesses a variety of skills, technical and cognitive, that is required to find, to understand, to evaluate, or to create and communicate digital information in a wide variety of formats. And it's also been said that being digitally literate is about far more than access to technology. A lot of people have phones now that will do magical things, but all they do with it is answer phone call and send the text message or WhatsApp. So it's about using technology well. And then the literate of the 21st century will not be those who will not read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. You know, if I take myself, my background was in accountancy. I was first a chartered accountant, but I took interest in technology. And today I run a technology business. Technology was different for finance, but I was more interested in technology, so I had to unlearn some things. I had to relearn new things. So that's test for learning and transform us from being digitally literate to being really very digitally literate. And when we look at digital skills, we can spread it across very diverse realm of digital transformation. And there are lots of areas to gain skills on. And then you can just deepen one and have a fair understanding of what happens elsewhere so that you can contribute when conversation gets to that, or being able to find your ways. In the digital ecosystems, there's cloud computing. Some can go very deep into that as to be able to provide services in that realm. Some just need to know enough about how to consume what is made available there. Mobile phones, IoT platforms, social media, augmented reality, wearable devices, interaction, and then user data collection. People engage in data collections and what have you, and being able to do that where they are contributing to the ecosystem. 3D printing, smart sensors, GPS, analysis of big advanced algorithms, and those that can even take that further into the realm of artificial intelligence and machine learning, which in my organization we've leveraged to provide electronic loan underwriting to financial institutions, players. Authentication and intrusion detection into the area of, in the realm of cyber securities. And so like I have said, there are diverse areas that you can just look at one area that you are strong on and deepen your knowledge in it and try to understand what is happening elsewhere. And then you are a digitally literate person. Okay, so still talking about digital competence, ability to seamlessly use and demonstrate self-efficacy on some tools and technologies. I remember some of my early days in the tech realm. There was this solution in word processing called Merge. You know, you could create a simple letter and then use Merge to create address and point that to a database. And then that letter can, you know, come with addresses from the database and come printed. One day in the organization I was working, the company wanted to send letters to all their customers. So they brought all the secretaries in the organization on a particular Saturday. What were they to do? They want this letter to go, but they don't want somebody handwriting address. They want it typed. And so if it's got to be typed, it means the secretaries have to type name and address of each and every thousands of customers that they had. And so I walked in and I saw so many secretaries everywhere. I said, what are these people doing? They said the companies sending addresses and letters to. So when I understood that, the first thing I said everybody should just shut down, because they have been doing that. That was like the second Saturday at it. And I don't know how many Saturdays more. And so I said they should give me the database of all the addresses, all the customers and what have you. The IT people, they put that together and then put it in an Excel for me. And I set up a Merge and sent it to printers, and they were collecting the letters at the other end. Wow, this is magic. And I really even didn't know so much around technology then. Okay, so being able to leverage these tools to do amazing things, informed decisions on appropriate digital technologies, and learning about or learning with digital technologies, being able to leverage, for example, even what we are able to do with tools that we already have is really more important than what we know. You know, just 2 months ago, my company, we wanted to have session across some countries. We have a program to cover the whole of Africa this coming year. And so I said, why can't we even have 4 countries on the same day? Have people, you know, brought into different halls across the country. Send one of your rep to different countries to organize, to bring people together and do the presentation to them right from. And we did that. We had engagement with industry stakeholders in 3 different countries at the same time, and taking questions, and people that couldn't join physically were able to join in their offices. And it was so impactful. I said, wow, that's a high opening. Next year, we are going to be engaging 5 countries at the same time. Why not even 10? Okay, so being able to leverage these tools to achieve our goals is far more important than what we know, and thinking of what we can do with technology. You know, so the balanced attitude towards technology. Some people, once they encounter very little challenge, they are thrown off and they don't want to even touch it again. So they'll be calling for people to help them. Those are even doing better. Okay, so legal and ethical aspects is a lot of people have spoken to that. Technology-mediated communications, collaborations, and a whole lot general knowledge and functional skills, information processing and management, and then some people can be experts in privacy matters and information security, like I mentioned earlier. So what is the digital divide? Digital divide is an inequality or gap between groups in terms of access to and the use of or the knowledge of information and communication technologies. And this digital divide is everywhere. When you look at between the developed nations and the underdeveloped nation, you see what you call a digital divide. Okay, so of course the advanced nations, they are much more, they have embraced technology and they have invested in technology and they are the driving force behind the technology progressions. Okay, so why people in the developing nations, there's a digital divide there. Even when you now take even the developed nations, even in those nations themselves, there are digital divides in the nation. And in every country today, there are digital divides. And what are these factors which contribute to this digital divide? You have economic factors. You know, if you don't have economic power, there is little or nothing you can do. And some are more advanced in access to economic powers. They have capital, they have infrastructure they can leverage, they have all kind of supporting environment. The same is not so with developing nations. Even in developing nations, you find out that there's a divide between the urban areas and the rural areas. And all of these divides, they are fueled by these factors. It can be economic, which can be social issues. Under social issues, you have educational issues, literacy issues. Okay, so if you are not literate to start with, you cannot even, it becomes difficult to take it further into digital literacy rate. Okay, so, and then you have people in the rural area. I remember during the election in Nigeria, when some people were making so much noise in the social media, you know, promoting a particular candidate. One of the presidential aspirants says, luckily, he says, most of my voters, they are not on the social media. So all the noise, all the castigations, all the deep fake communications going on during the election, we have upper hand. Okay, so these are some of, he knows his people, so he knows what he was talking about. Okay, so geographical issues, you have people that are in remote area, even the cost of taking infrastructure to those areas, fix at least the economic benefit of such an investment can be a problem. And that connects directly with what Paul was saying, you know, that it's not a demand problem, it's about the supply. And he said, how do we bridge this? He said, what is the problem is profits. People want to make profit from their investment. And not enough funding is available for social projects that you are not expecting profits. Okay, so that is why in the urban areas, in the highly concentrated areas, you will see all of this infrastructure, fiber optics, broadband technologies, and what have you been perfect. But in the remote areas, and when you value the economic wealth of everybody in those villages, maybe it's not enough to even put a fiber optic there. So what does a business person that is deploying technology, what will interest him in taking it there? So these are some of the challenges. And some have fear of technology, lack of motivation. And there are also cultural issues, okay? There are issues, there are nations where they believe that women should not be exposed. Their own is in the other room and making children, making babies, okay? And even attempt for them to even expose themselves, they are met with very serious. We have countries today that are still really fighting war within their nations to ensure that women are caged. So these are some of the cultural issues are still grappling with. But the salvation will come one day. Okay, so cultural issues and what have you contribute to digital divide. This is just more or less all of these things again. When you look at the digital headlines today and look at the population and the level of digital penetration, you will also see this very clearly. The total population in the world today is about 8 billion, and 57% of the world population are in areas. So already it's a divide there. Okay, so people in the suburb areas, they hardly have access to the kind of things and the speed and quality. Quality is also now very, very important. Even in Nigeria today, when you take Lagos, take Abuja out of the equation, it is in some remote states, the quality of network here is not as good as you will find in urban areas. These are the problems. And maybe government, maybe at maybe world level, global level, might want to set aside funding to penetrate those areas that are not attractive to investors, to digital infrastructures, to mobile phones. Mobile phones used today, we have 5 billion in the world. Look at that, that's like 60% of the world population. Internet users, you have 5 billion people, and that's about 63.1% of the world population. So what that means is that about 37% of the population do not have access to the internet. Okay, not to talk of even being able to tools that internet and the business advantage that internet provides. And when you look at active social media users, about 4.7 billion people are very active on social media. So that means about that translates to 59%, which means about 40%, are not active of the world population, are not active on the social media. Maybe I've talked so much about this divide. What are the components of this divide? Users. So the education and rural areas. Infrastructure. Without infrastructure, digital access becomes a problem. So this infrastructure is concentrated in developed nations and urban areas of even developing nations. And the dwellers in the remote areas do not have access to critical infrastructure, telecom services, basic ICT capabilities, devices, portals, content applications. So what can we do to bridge this divide? I will hand my contribution so that also contribute as well.
Round you up. Thank you, sir, for doing that. I was just going to round you.
Okay, yeah. So infrastructure development is very, very key. Without infrastructure, it's difficult. So whatever funding nations have to access to make sure that quality network is available across the nation will be a worthwhile investment in bridging the digital divide. And then affordable access. Some of these networks and what have you, they are available, but sometimes they are beyond the reach of economically disadvantaged people. So, directly affects what are the drivers of the cost of access to technology. Okay, so would help to bring down the cost. A mast for GSM communications and what have you. You've got to put generators, you've got to put security, you've got to put to manage just one mast. So you can see, and all of that cost will translate into, then digital literacy is very, very key, education. And that is why I very much appreciate what Dr. Wumi is doing with all his colleagues, bringing women to see what they can do. They have roles to play, and there are great opportunities. And here, also the world all over, there is increasing support to see to it that women are not left behind. Okay, so content utilization is also very, very critical. So I want to leave it here and to thank and the moderator for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir. I told myself here, you took us through the lane of what it is about digital literacy. It's like going back to school. Thank you so much. That was very deep, very detailed, and very inspiring. I think at this point, we should bring in Mr. Admira Gwanzura. Right here, I'm sure so many people are connected. I have digital skill experts in Nigeria who have been doing a lot with schools. This Sitcom Cisco group is live here with us. They are connected already, listening to all of you. This is getting very interesting. I wish this is a live meeting where all of you are here physically, but it's very inspiring to hear, the last speaker speaking to us in details, the challenges that we actually have, especially with infrastructure, and what opportunities we need to explore in ensuring that we bring down the cost. I think that's a major issue. And I really love that point, sir. And I hope by the end of this day, we can actually harness so to do that together. Right now, please, let's have the floor for our Admira Gwanzura. Thank you so much, sir. I hope Rachel is getting better. So, Admira, yes, thank you. We can have you. Please, sir, you have the floor, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I don't know if you can hear me.
I hear you. We can hear you. I'm hearing you.
Thank you, Dr. and Mrs. Swami. I had prepared a few slides that I'll go through with the audience and you on the topic of technological, on digital divide and the digital skills. Firstly, thank you for inviting me. And I'm Admira Gwanzura, the former president of Institute of IT Professionals South Africa, and today to discuss digital skills and the bridging of the digital divide in Africa. I'll briefly start with the technological evolution that we have seen in the world. So we have noticed the rapid and disruptive evolution of technology in Africa, and this has brought in unprecedented opportunities impacting various facets of our lives in Africa. We've seen a growth in job creation, business development, healthcare, accessibility brought about by the digital technologies. And these digital technologies have changed the way we learn, the way we live, and even the way we play. The way we do a lot of things have been impacted for the better by the digital technologies. So we are seeing digital technologies playing an integral part in our lives today. And we are quite excited about that. However, we are facing a huge challenge of the digital divide. Now, by digital divide, we are speaking about, we mean the gap between those who have access to the internet or broadband and those who do not have. And this is a serious problem that we have in Africa at this point in time. Like other previous speakers, we have already highlighted the facts. So without addressing this gap, Africa's progress will be hindered. As we have seen, we have been caught unaware by the COVID-19 pandemic. We noticed during the pandemic that, like for example, in education, children from other backgrounds could attend school using digital platforms, whereas some students couldn't connect to those online platforms due to digital divide. So without addressing the gap of digital divide, we are at a risk of hindering development in Africa. So strategic investments need to happen in Africa in terms of broadband education, digital literacy programs. So according to the World Economic Forum in it said only 16% of Africans have got basic digital skills to survive in the fourth industrial revolution. And this number, these statistics are not good for Africa. We need to up our game. We need to improve, because this gap impedes Africa's development for need for inclusive and digital skills development. Our governments, the private sector, the society, and ourselves as the citizens, we've got a huge role to play to bridge this divide. I was briefly touch on inclusivity and gender disparity in Africa. I'm reliably informed by the previous speaker that today is Women's Tech Day in Nigeria, and I'm quite elated by that. A lot of audience are listening and they are participating on this day. A lot of ladies from Nigeria, I'm told. So it is imperative that we make digital skills training inclusive for everyone and gender responsive. The gender gap in internet usage in Africa is still a concern to us. Even at IITPSA, we've tried a lot of initiatives, and we've got other initiatives that have already started to give us positive results, trying to bring in girls and ladies into the ICT sector. And I'm quite excited to tell you that we have got a Women in IT in South Africa that we run from the from the Institute of IT Professionals South Africa, which is doing very, very well. And we've seen the growth in the number of girls and ladies taking up tech jobs and tech technology initiatives. According to the ITU report on internet usage in Africa, it said that 34% of women were using technology in 2022, and 45% of men were using technology in 2022. Compared to Europe, which had 89% of women and 90% of men respectively. This really highlights a huge gap. So we need to ensure that there's inclusivity and gender responsive development of our ICTs in Africa. Breaking these barriers for women and girls, people living with disabilities, people living in underserved areas is essential. No one is left behind in Africa. Now, the new Africa that we have today, we have got an advantage, proud of our youth. Let's forget about the to be proud, diamonds in the Congo, gold in Joburg, oil in Nigeria. Now our competitive advantage that we have, our new asset that we have in Africa is our youth. So we need to invest in the digital skills development to empower the youth for the better Africa. Collective action plans for governments, the private sector, the civil society organizations, and even individuals, us as individuals. By saying that, who should do what? These are the action plans that I think should be implemented to improve our digital divide, and our digital skills. I'll start with the roles that the governments could play. So the governments could develop and implement digital skills strategies, formulate policies that address the digital divide and promote skills development. Invest in digital infrastructure like fiber networks. We have heard from the previous speaker, Paul was talking about the initiatives happening in Namibia as far as fiber connectivity is concerned, and we are quite excited by that. Those are the direction to address the digital divide. The government can also ensure inclusivity and effectiveness in its policies. The government must enable affordable access to devices, like tablets. Another speaker mentioned about tablets and devices in schools and smartphones, and this will all go a long way in trying to bring. Government can also provide subsidies or tax breaks to those companies who are investing in those efforts aimed at addressing the digital divide. Now, what can our private sectors do? The private sectors should invest in digital skills training for people, upskilling workers, reskilling them into the digital skills space so that we close those gaps. The private sector can collaborate with governments and civil societies for training programs to support initiatives promoting digital literacy and inclusion. The private sector can also develop low-cost devices specifically designed for the African market so that we can use them. I'm quite excited by the story that I was reading from Kenya. I think recently Kenya was open would use to. I think those are such a device in the right way to address this digital device gap. Also, we need to make sure that the data is also affordable of those devices. So these are some of the roles that can be played to bridge the digital by the private sector or the business side of our communities in Africa. The civil the next row is by individuals. You and me, what to fight this digital divide challenge? Let's take advantage of digital skills trainings and opportunities that are. Let's be mentors that they can learn digital skills. Let's support the business commitments and drives towards digital skills development and inclusion. My closing thoughts or the summaries on what I've been saying about the bridging digital divide and digital skills is that it requires concerted efforts from all sectors. Everyone must play a part. And I've got a few examples, areas where we should learn from. Empower communities to foster innovation and unleash transformative power of digital technologies. Enacted some policies on digital inclusion. Kenya developed some mobile devices to ensure to digital technologies. Rwanda, informed, has invested heavily in broadband infrastructure to make sure internet penetration rates access the internet to bridge the digital divide again. So if we create an inclusive environment, it will be ideal for a prosperous Africa through responsive digital technologies. In conclusion, I want to the words of our Nelson Mandela, education powerful tool, which we can use to change the world. Let's embrace education, help us bridge the digital divide and unlock Africa's great potential and harness the technology responsibly for shared and sustainable growth of Africa. I thank you.
Thank you so very deep presentation, Mr. Guazura. A whole lot of notes down here. You talked about inclusivity of the policy. It's very critical because these days we just find men in the policy process. They just invite maybe one woman as an, that's all, but we don't see so many women. We need to be inclusive. And very important, you mentioned the physical challenge, very important. This just now we have a set of physically challenged people within the house, and they are so active, so interested, and all of that. So we need to really plan for them, and this is very, 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 very important. So, roles that each of us can play, which is critical, because we can talk about it and nobody is doing nothing. So we need to talk about mentorship. We need to talk about supporting their businesses and give commitment to it. Thank you so much, sir. I actually put all of those points down from that presentation. I want to welcome my sister from Kenya. Thank you. I hope you are connected and we can hear you now. And while you were, I was thinking, the thing that came to my mind was, I remember tech started in 19 years ago. There was a meeting I was in Abuja, I think in 2006, and there was a Kenyan that came and told us how you guys had telecenters in almost every. I don't know if that is still or is still there, working, but I'm sure I have an insight to how it's happening in Kenya. Government plus individuals in bridging this gap. Thank you, Rachel Chitanda. You have the floor.
Thank you so much. Sorry for the earlier hiccup. I think now we in retrospect. So I think one thing I have to mention is that in Kenya, in Africa, are trying very hard to equip their population with skills when it comes to innovations, seeing around information, around accessing data online. And I think most of the governments have actually taken up e-government services to their population, which is being implemented a lot in Kenya. If you want any service from the government, be it land registration, be it human population registration, be it death, be it any other service, even birth certificates and stuff like that, and passports. So everything has been moved to the digital platforms. And I think it's a way of the government trying to foster innovative and also being creative. So I have to say, in 2006, that is quite some time back, and I think the government that have come in place, innovation and the implementation of services through e-government has been one of their mandates. Even the former speaker has mentioned how Kenya has actually introduced phone manufacturing in the country, meaning that we are getting more affordable phones, bridging the gap which has been there for device accessibility and affordability. And I'm sure most countries, even like Tanzania, they're doing a lot of innovation hubs. They're building around 8 innovation hubs in Tanzania to incorporate innovation and support innovators. So I think we're doing a good job as a continent, but I think as a private sector that we are here, I think one of the things that we should put in mind is our contribution to this. So one of the contribution that we can make as a private sector members is supporting the government initiative by also providing parallel programs in aim to support the initiative, like trainings, mentorship, in alignment to education and stuff like that. So for me today, I wanted to share something. I don't know if I'm able to share. Am I able to share?
Please go ahead. Go ahead and share, please.
Haven't been given access. Kindly give me access.
The host, please, can you give her access? I think you are made a co-host now, so you should be able to share. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So I want to share this, and I don't know, can you see my screen?
It's coming up. Okay, great, it's here. We have your screen, yeah.
So I wanted, because I was aiming to speak a lot on what has already been spoken, but I think this is one of the things which has not been spoken to in-depthly, which is ICT knowledge and digital skill knowledge. So we have also to differentiate the two in terms of what is actually ICT knowledge and what is digital skills knowledge. As you see from this presentation, the important ICT knowledge areas are manufacturing, business administration, law, generic qualifications, which we get in school, and now the ICT. The ICT means the equipment, the technology, and where we communicate, that is the internet. But now the digital skills encompasses so much more, including communication, creativity, assistance and caring. So we have to know when we're speaking about ICT knowledge is quite different from when we are speaking about digital knowledge. So ICT knowledge is more of the technical skills that we acquire when we go to school. Maybe if someone is an engineer, if someone is an ICT expert in cybersecurity, in computing, in data. So very different from the digital skills. Digital skills mean that maybe you're able to access the internet, you're able to discern information in the internet between the correct and the not correct one. You're able to access government services with little or no assistance. You're able to work, even if maybe you're working in data entry, which is not a technical skill. So that is one of the things that I think some of us need to understand when it comes to digital skills. So also I would like to share something else. Just a moment. Am I still sharing? So here we are. So from this, I think we can see what I mean by digital skills. So digital skills is more of information and data literacy, communication and collaboration. This is that someone is able to, small skills like even being able to access an email, writing, interpreting what the email is saying, engaging, being able to access digital content like WhatsApp, like YouTube and stuff like that. And then also being able to be safe in the spaces that you're sharing data, information about yourself in the digital space, being able to solve problems in a creative way. Yeah. So I think when we talk about digital skill, we sometimes frame it to be really complex, but what we mean is just the literal basics of what every human or every person at this time of the world of times should have when it comes to sets. So this one actually it cuts across every career spaces. If you're a doctor, you need to know how to discern information. You need to know how to communicate. You need to know how to create digital content. You need to know your safety precautions to solve small technical problems, like, you know. So when we speak about it, we make it complex and we lose the meaning of digital skills. And I think one of the vital digital skills I learned when I got out of school was data entry. And most of us start either by being a support, and then you go to that or data entry, or for basic livelihood is what we should be thinking. So now, as I speak more about that, I want to say, like I have mentioned about collaboration, and as a community, one of the things brought up, as a community of tech people and tech space, what are we doing in order to support our communities? So I'll share some of the communities that I actually support when it comes to digital skills and technical skills. So I support a community called Spacia Tech. Spacia Tech is a community based in Africa, which has members across Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Nigeria, and Ghana, and etc. So we have mentioned about supporting communities, and when you talk about supporting communities, it can either be us supporting our local communities or us engaging in communities that already existed of tech people that maybe are trying to train other people in soft skills and also hard skills. So one of the community that I am highly engaged in tech. So I will stop sharing there, and then I would invite all of us to think as people in the tech ecosystem, what contributions have we made when it comes to increasing, elevating a digital skill set in our society? Are we actively participating in formulating policies? engaging our community when it comes to training, also sharing skills. And so when we talk a lot about what the government is doing, we also need to encompass a lot about our own in the same. So also we need to think about what is the future of work. How will the work ecosystem look like? So we are looking about an ecosystem that will need to be with a community of tech literate people. And with this, we have already seen a high risk of job losses when it comes to people losing employment opportunities or being rendered redundant due to tech evolution and uptake of new technology. So which are those core skills that we can incorporate in our work at this time in order to not to be rendered incompetent in the future? So those are the kind of things we should be thinking about. So what are those things that as the digital that are not very hard, but we can include in the digital economy for our population also to earn skills and also to earn a living? So I'll give an example about some of the skills that I read after when it comes to digital skills. So one of them is being competent in computer cloud systems. This is one of the skills that will be highly sought after. Analysis, virtual collaborative tools. If you actually collaborating with offshore teams, then you'll be rendered out of the market. Also having basic skills of coding, which is something that, but I think with the population and the audience right now, it's more of tech system, being able to understand the e-commerce and online, and a high knowledge of cyber security to safeguard your business. So these are the kind of things that we should put in mind when we're thinking about collaboration, when we're thinking about digital skills in Africa. And so you, Madam Collaborator, Moderator, Mrs. Omi, allow me to share something with your audience.
Oh, with my audience,
I think
we actually disconnect because most of them, maybe I actually wish that I didn't disconnect them to listen to you, because I think you actually spoke like somebody on the field, and you are speaking, was just screenshotting what you are presenting so that I can share it with them after now. Right now, they're in another panel section, and then maybe after this section, you and I can move to them. So I hope you understand that. So please bear with us. When Melissa started, and many of the women couldn't flow with the tongue of Melissa. Melissa, not like our looking at me like, doctor, what is going on? So I told them I would be interpreting to them. And now they are in another time. But really, actually, I know there are a lot of men on our way. I'm very excited that you broke it down to the pieces of what exactly are we talking about in the digital digital literacy and the divide. I know the divide has become a divide that is not just about the gender divide alone, and it's crossing across. And I actually put here the difference between ICT research, digital knowledge. Thank you for that slide. And I want to believe many people on this call pick that. Nigeria, for instance, I hear people talk digital literacy, cyber security. I'm just smiling. What exactly do we want to achieve? We need to be able to define it, and that's why yourself and my brother, doctor, that spoke, you broke it down to what is digital literacy. This is a big see people, government, unfortunately, across Africa, we just hear the word and everybody run around and they will be free to speak the word. This literacy, we need to understand the difference between ICT knowledge, talking about people doing, and then the literacy part of it. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. I don't want to preempt a lot of questions. I'm not trying to ask questions now because the audience, I'm sure they'll have a lot of questions. But seriously, this is the hub of it. This is the root of this section. People should be able to understand. Our institutions should understand. In Africa, we are too used to carrying words. When people think everybody is carrying it all over Africa, even though we may not know the meaning, we just begin to use it everywhere, and we are not able to define what exactly is our solution. Thank you, Rachel. I celebrate you. Thank you. We're going to listen later to, finally, I think we have one or two more persons we need to do.
I just wanted to say,
yeah.
One of the things I just wanted to share today, as you guys celebrate women in Nigeria, I just wanted to share that Miss Landi, who earlier spoke, she's been elected as the new president. She's the president for Institution of Professional President. And so, just to celebrate women, I'll mention her. I also mention that that is, and also Ms. Arinella is the vice chair elect for West Africa, which is Nigeria is part of, and the minister who's also the vice chair for Central Africa. I, as a deputy chair elect for, and also vice chair for East Africa. So I just wanted to mention that I think AfICTA is also doing a great job when it comes to bridging the gap between women and also leadership, and also encouraging women to be on leadership positions. Thank you so much.
My sister, I really celebrate that. I'm very grateful for you to make those remarks that women are there, and we believe that we will have more women doing more things in this side of the game. This Dr. Olufuye's picture seems like Dr. Olufuye is just smiling and speaking to us. Just a picture there. Dr. Olufuye, welcome on board with us. I almost felt like Dr. Olufuye wanted to say something, but I remember it is just a picture. Thank you for giving us that beautiful picture of yours. I think we want to have right now Mr. Bahiza Atanes. Mr. Bahiza Atanes, please, can I have you now? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me, please?
Okay, I think it's clear now. Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Atanas, my dear. And on this one, I feel like I'm the youngest person here. And when we talk about digital inclusion, I believe the AfICTA Secretariat put digital inclusion, thinking of bringing the youth at the table today. And as I address the summit, one of the key points I'm going to mention is the access to digital skills, but more focused on the larger part of the African population. And as we talk about digital citizens, the youth is the power of Africa. We are leveraging on our own ways to learn new skills that are different from the normal academical skills we used to have before, to try to compete with the world when it comes to the digital ecosystem. But then there are also some challenges that are coming with this, as the youth is trying to learn as much as possible the new skills we were talking about here before, whether it's the high-level skills, data science, intelligence, but also the very key digital skills that you don't need to be an IT professional to to make use of. And this is being seen everywhere. But something Mr. Paul just mentioned in before, we need the tools. We need the tools so that we can leverage on them on our own creative ways. See how the internet has helped youth to learn skills, and definitely some side of Africa when we need a certain solution, digital solution, we tend to go for external parts of the for solutions out of the continent. Yet we have the youth with the skills and who are able to make these solutions. When we have projects maybe that we need volunteering on, yes, we always think of our youth and they are always ready to jump in. But when we have projects like with millions of millions of money as budget, we tend to go out of the continent to search for expertise. We do not always the skills of our youth. So I feel like this is talk about when you're talking about digital skills. The skills we have yet not, but the skills we have can make solutions, innovative solutions toward the development, the socio-economic of our continent. So we need to really consider that. The other thing I would like to say here is we talk about the divide and bridging this gap, the rural areas and the remote communities tends to be forgotten most of the time. And some people talked about infrastructural problems. Yes, we need infrastructure. We need to fill that gap. Our remote areas tend to be lagging behind when it comes to digital infrastructure, not only the internet, but also all the other aspects of ICT. But then something comes in mind. There are some projects that are aimed at empowering the remote areas and the rural community. And some smart devices, rural communities, so that they can benefit from. What was very good. We came to realize that some of them really use the device because it's not what for them their priority. A farmer will spend like 8 hours of his day farming in the won't really take the to on top or on a smartphone. And we try to tell them that, yeah, you can access a good market here. You can access another level of like another big market on the using the IC, but yet it's not part of their priorities. They need to feed themselves for that day because they need to dig and produce so that they can feed themselves. But then the ICT devices we're giving to them do not really help them. So some projects came up with ideas of incorporating some digital solutions within that are relevant to their needs. So as we talk of farmers, when you give them the smartphones, make sure there are applications that will help them forecast maybe the weather so that it's going to rain or it's not going to rain. And that helps them straightforward in everyday life and now we will talk about meaningful access of these digital devices and the ICTs, because having a bare device a laptop, a phone is good, but as soon as it doesn't allow us to develop, it doesn't allow us to feel the need of our society, it's not useful. So I believe meaningful usage of the ICTs, and this comes when they are incorporated, like they are going with the solutions that we need in our society. And talking about this, innovative solutions are coming up in Africa, and most of the time are from the youth. We are developing solutions, innovative solutions to respond to some of the urgent problems of us. But yet we don't have the finance. We don't have access to enough finance to implement these projects. Many young people have digital softwares, like myself, a software engineer, and in my circle, we've developed solutions that fill the gap in the legal area, in the agricultural area, and some other areas. But these solutions are not implemented. Yet when the government will come with a project that needs to, let's say, digitalize the agricultural sector of the country, you will see they're coming with a solution that was made in China or in America or in Europe. I have nothing bad with those countries, but I feel like it's our responsibility as the government, the African government, and as the African private sector to really incorporate our tech expertise, to use them in developing the solution for enterprises, in developing our business plans for the coming years, so that the solutions that are made in Africa and by the African expertise will be sustainable, because they have in mind the problems that we face every day. Talking also about the problems that we have every day, there is not only the lack of finance, but also the access to the when we tend to compete as small or middle enterprises in Africa, we have many coming up with solutions, but they are not they are not strong enough to compete with the bigger solutions that were made in maybe West California or other parts of the world, because they put in and finance, and they are stronger. Us as a developing continent, we have solutions, but if we go in silos, we are not going to compete with the world. So when we need to empower our younger generation, when we need to empower them with digital skills, I think it also have to go with a sense of collaboration, so that working together, we can compete with the wider global market and benefit from our own local market, but also from the global market. And I have to mention one other important thing. We are talking about bridging the digital divide. There are a community of young people, such as the youth IGFs all around Africa. In many countries, I coordinate the initiative, the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Young people come together to share knowledge, share expertise, and share also the good lessons and the challenges they have in their everyday life when it comes to the digital ecosystem and focus on the internet. So this kind of collaboration that has been very much in Africa in the internet governance ecosystem should also go in other areas of the other sectors of our economy. If we have people collaborating and sharing ideas, sharing knowledge, let them also be people sharing knowledge about the of maybe to law, the legal aspect of it, and when we have vision and how we can leverage on technologies and I still solution the problems of our society. Some solutions are being implemented in Nigeria that are relevant to the problems we are having in Congo now, but we do not know. And we have to start over again the work from zero. But if we have this kind of collaboration, our skills and their skills are putting together, we won't have to start from zero. We will take into account what they have been doing and build on that to make a stronger solution. And only there we will have meaningful digital accessibility. And so that is skills sharing, and I believe it's very important. Collaboration is very important when it comes to the skills and the solutions we need for our digital future. Many things has been said about the technologies and digital literacy, what kind of skills or what kind of efforts we need to bridge the digital divide in our own countries, but in the whole continent. I think we need to build on collaboration and access to opportunities. As I mentioned, these are me coming from the young part of the population. These are the problems that we face every day. Access to opportunities and also access to funding is a real problem. We still have lack of trust between the elder generation and the younger generation when it comes to the solutions, the digital solutions we want. So we should really involve more the young people and the tech experts of our continent in building the solutions that we want. I won't talk too much since we are running out of time, but these are the points I wanted to mention. And as we'll be having questions later, I'll be ready to answer as many questions as we have. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Very well. Thank you so much. I'm so impressed with everything that everybody has said, because as one person is rounding up on a particular issue, I see the next person taking it up to another level. Thank you so much, my brother, Dr. Bahiza. I hope I'm correct with that pronunciation. God bless you. You actually inch on the youth. Okay, thank you. You are actually inch on the digital access to the young people, which is very important. And then you mentioned working with children. You know, I don't know if you were listening to us a little bit when I was with the women. We were privileged in Nigeria to train about 300 school children and almost 60 or 70 teachers just last month, supported by the Communications Commission. And in 2 days, both teachers and children, girls, they learned a whole lot of technology, including producing a LED bulb that is powered by solar. Do you know that right live here in the hall, 2 schools, I just thought the 2 best schools that presented that and did their own, within 30 minutes, the children have produced those technologies. They are right here live with us to teach the women how to produce it. We just wanted to sit back and allow the girls to teach them how to produce it. And one of the fallout of it was what you mentioned, the fact that when these children and youth knows how to do all of this, not just having devices, but they understand the technology behind it, they are able to integrate easily. They are able to become competitive, and that is very important. I just told you, just this morning we called it school. We just said, use this school. You were the best in the school. Can you please come and share your experience with the parents, with your mommies? Another school heard about it, and they said, oh, we too came second. We are coming, and we are all here. This is the way it happens. If you just want to give devices to people, tell them you own a computer, hold a mobile phone, without them understanding what it means, they will continue to use it like every other person is doing it. And I think to scale up, you have actually nailed it. We need to give access and opportunity. And I want to say, before I begin to entertain questions, I'm not sure there's any other person we still have to speak. I hope I have not leaving anybody out from my list. I think Mr. Ewa is not with us. I wanted to say that a few years back, and at a privileged opportunities like this in Ghana, what I saw is that they bring children from primary school, from secondary school to tertiary institutions. They invite them for international conferences in ICT. That was a process to let the children see what is going on in the industry, understand the discussions that is going on around development, so that when they return back to school, their thesis can be tailored. They can understand the issues that is demand driven in terms of research, in terms of R&D. And so when they come out of universities, they have spin-off companies whereby they become their own CEOs. They're not looking for employment. And I think it's a model that I would like to see across the continent. And we can begin to see how we should let them be, let them talk about it, let them hear you speak, let them hear us speak, let them understand what are we talking about, the policy process, and let them make contribution. Thank you so much, Mr. Tanse, for that brilliant presentation. I am super impressed with every person that has spoken, starting with my Melissa, who has actually broken it up and given us so much to look at. To Mr. Paul, thank you, sir, for wonderful presentation. Mr. Bimbo Abioye, I appreciate your contribution. Mr. Ronnie, thank you. My brother Admire, thank you so much. And of course, Rachel. Rachel, we are so delighted to hear you speak. And I want to believe there's nobody we have left out of this discourse so that we can entertain questions. So please, if you have questions in the house, I will want to crave your indulgence, that you please raise your hand and let us see you, or you send your question to us through the messages. You can direct your question to any of the panelists, AfICTA executives that are with us who need to give a point. Please let us know so that we can take you now. And then I'm sure the panelists questions. Thank you. I open the floor. Please, Dr. Olufuye, we give you this 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very, very much. Very, very educative session. Indeed, there's no doubt this is one of the platforms AfICTA is using to bridge the digital divide, providing top-notch insights into trends. So great presentations. Well, I just make two or three quick points. AfICTA indeed is working hard to bridge the digital divide, just as the men have been leading for the past organization, and now we have women. So congratulations to women folk. Trust they won't disappoint the community, of course, with the trend we're seeing. So we have the chair elect as the woman, Ulandi, deputy chair, so a woman chairman. Board members elect here. So it's not that we are abandoning the women to just have with them, like Mr. Bimbo Abioye, other like that. Was second, when it comes to mechanism, I think there's been issue of saying why we don't. I think the the thing we need to recognize is that area using data okay, but we are copying it right. We need to, whatever we are copying, we should copy it right when we adopt it to our scenarios. So I think that is the message, adapting right to bridge the digital divide, taking note of our own environment. And then lastly, in the ICT industry, especially also in the world information, innovation and technology services, we take IT to be the same as ICT. Okay, IT the same as ICT, because now we're talking about internet. So it also ICT, we're talking about internet. So internet or ICT taken interchangeably. And the same way, digital, because the 0 and 1, digital 0 and 1, binary. So based on that, that's why more trend of digital is digital that. And of course, the clarification rate of people being involved and in digital skills and know-how. So well, we commend the effort of Dr. Wumi. We appreciate what you have been doing over time, bringing digital to the people. It's a collective responsibility. And also noting what all the speakers have been doing. Paul, even in Namibia, advocacy, the Admire, Dr. Melissa Sassi. So all this need to be aggregated, and we are supposed to do a little bit. But let me just caveat. It's a frank caveat that it is a long haul. We cannot, I think what I said, even within their digital divide. In US, there have been cases of digital divides, talking areas not having broadband, and they are trying to use TV white space to bridge the gap. The divide issue is going to be a long-term thing, that we should be focused on our respective commitments, and then bring the youth to, and that's why we are also committed to this million people that will be trained into as a body to. So once again, that much for the very presentations.
Our own digital evangelist, digital evangelist, Dr. Jimson Olufe, contributions at all times, and we thank you for you, sir. Yes, sir, your hand is up, sir. Abioye, can we do it in 2 minutes? Leave the meeting as we is now to leave, so that others also don't need to leave. So go ahead, sir.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I think I clicked that. I'm good.
All right, so they're great. Questions that people are just appreciate. I'm not sure I've seen any question that is coming. We have a link that is shared by AfICTA to see the sponsors, so that anybody can probably get in touch. And most of our presenters too have shared a lot of links on how to connect and collaborate with them. And I want to believe that we take advantage of all of that, so that we can reach out after now. I think on that note, I want to say this is very impressive. I'm so excited to be moderating this session. And as an advocate for digital bridging of the digital divide myself, I'm not sure we have a better day to discuss this. And it's really, I want to appreciate everybody. Thank you, AfICTA, for what you're doing. And we have to believe that very soon we need to really work on these partnerships. AfICTA does a lot of virtual meetings, but I think we need to take to plan, if it's going to be country to country intervention projects. Let's begin to look into that in the coming year. we actually are there to support one another. A lot of difference. And like Dr. Olufuye said, as this divide seems to be unfolding regularly from one level. It was initially with us as females to the male. Today, I can tell you that even the male are trying to mainstream into some of the technology divide. So get it right. As we're having it from the top, bottom most, we need to take it from all sides. And for us as Africans, there is a lot to learn. Skills, we need to keep developing skills. And I can't say feel that we have a lot of skill gaps. A lot of time we are seeing from China, what we see Japanese doing, what we see done in other economies. But the question I ask every time is that what are we doing about that? So we need to do something about that. Thank you, everybody. I really celebrate the privilege that we have. Thank you, AfICTA, for having me to moderate this. I am grateful. And on behalf of all the panelists, I want to say thank you. I don't know if any of the panelists here has anything to say before we hand it over back to the AfICTA coordinators. If there is no one, thank you, thank you, thank you. And from this end, we say thank you. Mr. Akimbo, I think we should hand over to you now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you, everyone. We hope we are all good at this time. For those who are just joining us, apologies. This is the 11th summit of the African ICT Alliance. We are proud to say we have been discussing on the theme transforming Africa's economy through digitization for sustainable development. Of course, we just finished the panel discussion, the last of it, on digital skills and bridging the digital divide. After the event planners are going to make available the videos so that we could all go through it and be able to refresh day one and of course today, which is day 2 of the event. Without much ado about nothing, we